Number 2, guys, let's start our conversation. They're vain, yes. You're so vain. Let's start our conversation about Kiddie collections. So Dale actually kicked us off a bit ago. He said he collected comics growing up. At first, I just got them and threw them away. Oh, you threw them away, man. I'm curious if you regret that now. But he collected Batman, Starman, Manhunter, Shazam, A New Beginning, Sword. Is that Sword or Power of the Atom or Sword of Power of the Atom? Were some that I collected. That's awesome. For comics, I didn't really ever collect comics too much. But the small group of comics that I did have, which I honestly, they impacted me so much, I want to get the omnibus of it, is X-Men Age of Apocalypse, which is a alternate reality, essentially, for the X-Men, where Magneto is the head of the X-Men, and Charles Xavier died, and there's all these different sort of groupings, like Wolverine is with Jean Grey, but they're sort of like this mercenary couple. Sabretooth is essentially the Wolverine of the X-Men. It was super interesting, and I love the artwork, I love the storyline, and it was, I think, the first time I had thought about characters of sort of because I was a fan of the X-Men cartoon, so I sort of knew the main makeup of the X-Men and who were the main leads and stuff. And so this was the first time that it took characters or mythology or what have you that I was familiar with and changed the stakes, changed around who was who, and that was super fascinating for me. So I'd love to get the omnibus for that and reread through it. Come on, aim, Francisco. Aiming is helpful, believe it or not. So I had that. Those were the main comics, I guess you could say, I collected. And then I also had like a Venom Punisher crossover comic. And that's really pretty much all I remember. Let's see. Dale says, Double Impact Bolo took 2 minutes to take off his shirt. Double Impact. Was Double Impact a movie? Yeah. Bolo took 2 minutes to take off his shirt to fight Van Damme. Come on. Kick his Van Damme butt. I see what you did there. So I'm going to start off, guys, with what I was probably... So either these collections happened in tandem, and the first one I'll just touch on because I've mentioned it in stream before. Oh, before I get to mine, Goodreads says, I collected comics, but mostly to read over and over. I only collected a few to save for possible value appreciation. Nice. Have you found that any of them are now valuable? Dale says, I wished I'd kept the mini comics that came with He-Man figures. Oh, yeah, I bet those would be kind of valuable now. For me, so like I said, sort of collected in tandem, for me was... come here, Key. Were Legos and G.I. Joe Cobra figures. Because, like I had said before, I was sort of my brothers would collect the G.I. Joes, and, they need someone to fight. So I would collect the Cobras, and we did little battles and stuff in our basement in Colorado, I remember, which was fun. But, I mean, it's hard playing that because... how'd you know who's beating who? Like, what rules are you using? You have to, formulate your own rules. It can be tough. It's a tough time, guys. Oh, my gosh. Get out of my way. I thought I could get past that guy, but oh, no. He's like, I'm going to be in your way and let you get shot by the sharpshooters. So, G.I. Joes. But also, pretty much at the same time, oh, my goodness, I collected Legos, and I was really big into Legos, and still am. I still have a box of a collection of Legos that I had growing up. But the Lego sets I really got into were the space sets. And so not the original 70s space set, but the first one I remember I collected every single kit. As far as I can remember, I collected every single kit. Was It's called either Mtron or Magnetron, and it was this space set where the gimmick was the characters had these. Oh, I love this ray, the flash ray. I really like that. Oh, and this is the great I was talking about, guys. So you can give this guy, you can drop items, and he'll give you money for it. Anyway, so the gimmick for Mtron was that all the kits had magnets, and they would use magnets in different ways for whatever the Lego kit was. So I collected every single one of those. Like, I don't think they had a base, but they had a really big ship. They had lots of little ships and little vehicles and stuff. So I had all of those. And one day I had them all like, oh, they had this huge sort of tank tractor thing instead of a base. That was their sort of biggest item. So I had them all. Then I come home one day from school. This would be when I was maybe 7 or 8. And all of them were just destroyed. All the Lego sets were destroyed. And I was so upset by it. It was one of my brothers. I had come in. I think he was my third brother. And he was probably maybe 1 or 2. It couldn't have been much more than that. Probably came in and was just playing with not meaning any menace. But I didn't know that. I don't think I could comprehend that. Oh. Sorry. So this is cool, guys. I'll take a break from my story because we put forth that knave such as thee could never clear this forthcoming room. Using naught but this club, prove thee can, and we will reward thee handsomely. In return, we shall test from thee 18 bullets as thy part of the wager. Prevail, and I shall return it. I accept your challenge. Wonderful. I have marked the room in question on thy map. Do make a show of it, eh? All right, so it gave me a club, which that'd be kind of cool if I kept. Reed says, none of the comics he ended up being worth much, unfortunately. So that king guy, he gives you different challenges every time you see him. Like last time I played a challenge, it was just don't dodge roll. Like beat the room without dodge rolling. Man, this club does. I'm surprised. This club does no damage. It's really ridiculous. So I guess that's good to know because I don't want to buy that. Ever buy that. Oh, a victor returns, and to the victor the spoils. Manservant, prepare a fitting reward for our entertainer, and return the 18 bullets.
Yes, something for you, yes, and your bullets. Heart holster. On the sleeve.
Well, that's cool. So now I essentially have 5 hearts. That's pretty rocking, guys. Let's see. Dale says, comics, action figures, and audio cassette tapes were the only things I got away with. Nice. Hey, The Legend of Gurk, welcome. We're talking about things we collected as kids. So comics have been a common theme. I also am in the middle of the Lego sets I collected, which were mainly space ones. So I had all the Magnetrons. I came home one day. My brother destroyed them all. I ended up... That actually was the inspiration for me starting to create my... not using instructions and just creating my own sort of models using the destroyed pieces. So that it was ultimately a good thing. But I still collected future sets. I collected Ice Planet 2002, which was a space Lego set where it is essentially, I guess, all the characters were on like a Hoth-like planet. And then I also collected Spirus, which was like, I don't know, a whole space set where the guys were spies for some reason. I don't know. It was weird. What gun don't you like? Oh, I don't like the Clob, which was the little king guy with the goblin manservant that challenges you. Hey, go into this room, and if you beat it with whatever or doing whatever, I'll give you a gun. So he gave me a Clob. He said, beat this room with a Clob. And man, each bullet, I don't know if it's doing like a fourth of damage or something. It is pretty ridiculous. But that's the one I didn't like. Legend of Gurk says, I never collected anything. My parents were used, and were used. My parents were used, and I was happier with the money, which I used to buy games. Well, so couldn't you say you collected games then? Oh yeah, the clob isn't intentionally bad by design. Okay. Let's see. So those were the main Lego sets I collected, guys. Parents were weird. Oh, okay. That makes way more sense. Let's see. The next thing I collected as I grew were, so I had a brief stint in middle school where I collected Pogs. If you don't know where Pogs are, they're essentially these like cardboard discs, like pretty flat. Like if you think of a silver dollar or something, but cardboard, that's about the size of them. And essentially what you do was each of them had like a fun design, whether it could be anything on them. And you would collect those, and you could play this game where you would stack your Pogs and your friends' Pogs. You'd stack yours all up, and then you'd take these things called slammers, which were these heavy things, whether they're washers or just big, thick, metal, chunky discs, and you'd throw them at the stack, and any Pogs that flipped over and like showed the design up, you got to keep, and so you played that way. Let's see. Reed says, I don't know if that counts as collecting. The Pogs or something else, Reed? I'm not sure. Oh, wait. I missed that. You said, my folks bought us Lego sets, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures, Nerf guns, and stuff like that. So, I mean, all those could definitely count as collections. I'd say collection was something where you were intentionally trying to complete the whole toy line. So if it were Ninja Turtles, did you try to collect all the Ninja Turtles and maybe Splinter and April and Shredder? Not necessarily. I mean, maybe you wanted to collect all the vehicles, all the bases, all of that. But like maybe collecting the core set of the main toy line, I would say if you're trying to aim for that, then you're collecting, as opposed to, oh, I like this toy, I like this toy, I like this toy. And that's sort of how I would define it. I mean, that's a very loose definition and one I came up with just on the spot. So someone might have a better one. Later on, I collected pro wrestling figures. Oh, that's fun. I never really got into wrestling, but I definitely see the appeal of it. Anyway, so I had a short stint with Pogs, and it was mainly because I got into them via a friend I had, and then this stupid Helix gun. Oh my gosh, whatever. Hopefully, I get that one homing bullet thing you talked about, Legend of Kirk, so that makes this actually usable. Anyway. Oh, I had to find a golden key. Oh, cool. Another NPC. That's so awesome. Anyway. What was I saying? My goodness. Oh, but I had a falling out with this friend. And then I, for some reason, got transitioned into collecting Magic the Gathering. I got really into Magic playing and trying to build a good deck. And that only lasted pretty much middle school and some of high school. It didn't last too long. But that was fun. I really liked the artwork in Magic and stuff like that. Let's see. Legend of Greg says, man, you don't love that gun, but it sure loves you. The Helix? Yes, it definitely does. Oh, my goodness. Jeez, every stream for the past few streams. Ridiculous. Okay, Legend of Greg. I am flabbergasted. What do I do with this altar? Can you inform me what I'm supposed to do with this thing? Am I supposed to give it an item, or what do I do with this? Okay, here we go. Oh, by the way, if you're curious, for Magic the Gathering, the decks I was trying to build were, I think I tried to build a green-black deck that had a lot of spawns, like there were these fungus type things in the green Magic cards that you could spawn more guys just on the battlefield. So I liked that. Legend of Greg says, when you beat the boss, he gives you a special, different graphic armor piece. It goes away in one hit, but you can place it there and unlock another hidden level. Oh, cool. Okay. Oh, if you go to the first hidden level, you can be the boss. Oh, I see. So go like through the fireplace, those hidden levels. I assume that's what you mean. Okay, so I would have to do that. Got it. Okay. Well, good to know. So that's kind of an impetus for me to actually try to beat one of those secret levels. Yep, that's the one. Okay, cool. Let's see here. Let's go back and try to do this. So, Magic the Gathering and Pogs. Last thing I collected as a kid, and this was more like late high school. I think I had these in college, but I didn't really collect any of them. Were Warhammer 40,000 little figurines. Me and my brothers had this decide to start collecting those so that we could like play war essentially and play, as I was saying before with GI Joes, we would want to play war with those, but there weren't really rules defined, so that made it pretty tough. But with Warhammer, you have this whole rule set, you can follow it, and you can actually, play a battle to its conclusion and have a definitive winner, which, we all want to win. So I collected, me and one of my brothers collected Space Marines, another one collected Dark Eldar, and another collected, what was it? I'm actually at lost now. What did they have? I don't remember. Maybe both my brothers had Dark Eldar, or one had Eldar, one had Dark Eldar. Something like that, I think. But the thing with that, though, is I honestly wish we hadn't collected... this Iron Maiden. Hadn't collected those, and instead... So this is a pro tip, I think. If you ever think about collecting something like Warhammer 40,000, it's a little different nowadays with like 3D printing where you could actually kind of print your own models. But you have to buy each model set, and they're expensive. Like for 5 guys, it's like $30 back in the late 90s. So I'm sure it's more now. So I originally, when my brothers were proposing, hey, let's get Warhammer, guys. I'm like, this seems really cool, but why don't we just buy the rule books and then use this horde of Legos by that point we have and actually create like the tanks and the guns? We could say, okay, this piece indicates this type of laser, or these wheel, if you use this, this set, it's like this vehicle. So we could just buy the rule book and save a lot of money. I got overruled by that. And I mean, there's definitely an appeal in painting your own figures and then playing them. And I definitely see the appeal in that. And I really like that component of it. But in retrospect now, not having those anymore, I feel like if your kids ever want something like to collect something of a game where it's you have to continually collect it like a minifig game, I would suggest buying the rule book, and if they have Legos already, just use Legos, because Legos, as far as or Lego bricks, technically, Legos isn't a correct term. You're supposed to say Lego bricks legally. Anyway, whatever. It's my show, guys. Legos, if you have a collection of Legos, just use those, because your kids will probably want to just continue having Legos, whereas Legos have multi-uses. I mean, seriously, here, look, guys. I made this. This is a little, essentially a little holder for my phone, like that. And I put this on the back of a chair. This part right here rests on the chair backing. And so when I'm streaming on the wall behind me, I can have the chat going on my phone and I can look at it, and it's right there in front of me. And I built this with stinking Legos. Because Legos you can turn into anything, pretty much. I did try making I wanted to make a bicycle or a car out of Legos. That doesn't work too well. But there's my bit of wisdom. Not that you were asking for it, but there you go. Legend of Gurk says, anyway, in case you didn't know and were curious, the Clob reference is Clob to the worst gun in GoldenEye. Yeah, I figured that's what it was. But thank you for your confirmation. A Goodreads says, you mentioned Pogs and Magic cards. That reminded me that I did have a period of collecting superhero trading cards. Oh, yes, I actually did as well, Reed. I think I still have a binder full of them. That's awesome. Yeah, I had, before I got into Pogs or Magic, this was at a different school, more elementary school. Some of my friends had these mostly Marvel. Yeah, these Marvel trading cards, and that introduced me to a whole set of superheroes I had never heard of. And so I collected those for a little bit, mainly just to trade. Don't fall down that. Mostly just to trade because I wanted to get the heroes I really liked, and ultimately never really did. And with trading cards, it's tough because I want them to have more utility than it's just something to collect and look at. I mean, with comics, you have a story. I'm about to die, guys. Lame sauce. Man, I had 2 hard things. Oh, that's cool. Boots. Spring heel boots. Nice. I had 2 hard things and still died. Not cool, yo. Let's go back to Breach and see. Nice phone holder. Thank you, Reed. And see if I'm accumulating kills for the quest I have. Anyway, Dale says, when I was in high school, I bought a Nintendo DS, or is that really ES? I don't know what that means, what an ES is. So I would buy games. I also collected the DC Marvel novelty cards. Nice. What's a Nintendo ES, though, Dale? Legend of Gurk, I remember my brother had Marvel Overpower, a super early wave of CCG. That's collectible card game. Okay, yeah. Oh, nice. I don't remember there being a CCG for Marvel superheroes. I remember Hero Clicks, and I think there still are Hero Clicks, but and that being sort of the game you would play in sort of the superhero realm. Whoa. Can you stay up, please? Microphone holder? My goodness. Let's try this. Stay, please. Reed says, nice phone holder. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Let's see, guys. Looks like you've still got work to do, in case you forgot. Looks like you still need to hunt 60 Bulletin. Okay, so it is cumulative, which is nice. Then I have to kill 200 in one go. And I'm surprised I'm as far as I am, going from 200 to 60. Let's see, do you have anything different to say to me? Oh, ho, ho, ho. Shuffle off. Okay. I shall shuffle off, even though I don't have any cards to shuffle. Oh, my goodness. So those were the collections I had as kids, guys. Thanks for being a part of this little segment. We'll be posting this to YouTube as a highlight from this stream. If you like this conversation and want to be a part of it, definitely check out, you can be a part of it live while I stream at twitch.tv/retrorewindpod. And please like this video if you did like it. If you didn't like it, if you didn't like it, you don't have to hit that thumbs down. You can just play a different video. Just go somewhere else. That's fine. There's no need to hit that thumbs down. But if you did like it, please thumbs up. Consider subscribing. You'll probably get more conversations like this. I have another one where we talk about arcade memories, cartoon crossovers, and I think A's 90s cartoon. Maybe that is the cartoon crossover one. But then there's another one, which I forget what it was about. But just fun little talks, reminiscing about nostalgic things. I mean, this is part of the Retro Rewind podcast, so expect that. Anyways, thank you and have a great day. All right, back to